Good morning and warm welcome to the latest edition of The Dialogue on Salt TV. That's the time when we look back at events which happened in the week and we do in-depth analysis on those events. My name is Prince Apollo. Welcome to the show. And on the panel this morning, we will be looking at the highlight of the week, which is the arrest and eventual arraignment of Dr. retired Colonel Kizza Besigye in court. Dr. Besigye, the founder and the former president of the Forum for Democratic Change FDC political party, was arrested alongside Haji Obeid Lutale in Nairobi, Kenya this week. Then reports circulated that he is missing and eventually he surfaced at the military court in Kampala, where he was arraigned and slapped with charges associated with undermining the security of Uganda. We'll be deeply interrogating those events, especially looking at the circumstances around this arrest. Well, we cannot discuss the merits of the case. We leave it to the court to prove whether he is guilty or innocent, but of course we'll be looking at the circumstances surrounding his arrest and his eventual arraignment. Well, on the panel this morning, Comrade Dr. Daniel Rugalama, a scholar, a lawyer, and a Pan-Africanist, is already in the studios. We have been joined by Honorable Opoka Geoffrey, former member of parliament for Agago constituency.
No, not member of parliament, not
former
contestant.
Former contestant for Agago constituency, but also the promoter of the People's Front for Freedom, the new outfit by the Katonga faction of the Forum for Democratic Change FDC. Welcome to the show. Let me introduce Comrade Rugalama. It's always a pleasure having you on the dialogue.
Thank you very much, my brother Apollo. And good morning to the brother Opoka. I think it's not my first time meeting him, although it may be my first time debating with him. And to our esteemed viewers, once again, I'm very happy that I'm back and we are together.
Wow. Thank you so much, Comrade Rugalama. Comrade Rugalama is also the chairman of the Pan-African movement. Honorable Opoka, speak to our viewers, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, my friend and doctor. I'm happy to meet doctor for the first time, but I've heard about him for quite a number of time. Yeah, I'm Opoka Kenneth Geoffrey. I've been a chairman for FDC for over 20 years in the inception of FDC. I was a district councillor, and in 2021 I contested for member of parliament on the FDC ticket. And currently I'm a health profession. I'm an environmental health officer by profession. I'm doing my master's in Makerere at the moment. And I'm the lead promoter of the factor Katonga, who we now moving out from FDC to PFF, People Front for Freedom. Otherwise, thank you. And non-Salt TV as a more of faith TV, not for politics. So when you called me yesterday, I said, what am I going to discuss there? It's not about church issues. When you said it's about politics, so anyway, thank you for hosting me.
Thank you.
And it is my pleasure being with you.
Thank you. It is a pleasure hosting you, Honorable Opoka. And for viewers, you can, as usual, be part of this discussion. Send in your comments and observations on the issue at hand, looking at the major events of the week. We'll be quickly going to the main topic. But quickly, on Comrade Rukarama, one quick comment on the pardoning of the NUP supporters who have been in jail for 4 years. We had this discussion here immediately after they pleaded guilty, which some of you said this was a forced plea, but indeed it is now bearing fruits. Indeed, they have been released and they have been pardoned. Yesterday, 19 supporters of the National Unity Platform were released.
What is of importance here is to look at the legality of the pardon to start with. The prerogative of mercy is enshrined in our laws, and the president is mandated on the advice of the committee,
advisory committee,
which is also legally constituted to pardon an individual, a group of individuals who have been charged and they have been incarcerated or wherever they are, as long as within the prerogative of mercy, the president can extend his hand and pardon them. So there is nothing strange that was done with the 19 people that probably would make us think that a law has been broken. But I think the other aspect is that immediately after they had been pardoned and released, then there was an attempt to arrest some of them. I saw that on the 9 o'clock NBS News. I have not yet gotten the gist of it, and I'm wondering as to who then, if it is the very government, the president that has pardoned them, who would now be interested in arresting them. I'm yet to find out, and probably given another opportunity, I will share with our viewers. But there is also this other one aspect. I think it is in the best interest of all of us as Ugandans not to make the prerogative of mercy look too easy to achieve. Because why should we predetermine and correctly so what is going to happen? Because it is like a written text that know what is going to happen. This group of people are going to plead guilty. They are going to be convicted and sentenced, and given such a sentence within which the president is going to be able to exercise the prerogative of mercy. So it shouldn't look as if this is a blueprint prepared somewhere, and the president is simply given a write-up to read to the audience. I think it is incumbent upon the people who are concerned in preparing whatever they have got to prepare for our president to make this prerogative of mercy more serious. It has got to be more serious in the sense that let nobody,
why do you think it's not so serious? For these people have been spent more than 4 years in prison, and here they are. They have been pardoned.
No, you see, we live in a community. We live out there. We don't live as individuals. We live as a society. And out there, what are people saying? You see, what people are saying is that probably this was a political maneuver for, it may not necessarily be correct. I'm saying what some sections of the community are saying out there. And that's why I'm like, let's make our president exercise what he has got constitutionally exercise look more serious.
Okay.
Such that he is not looked at as if he is being given certain things to perform when in actual sense somebody out there has prepared something for him and he has not given it such a serious thought.
Thank you, Comrade Rugarama. Thank you. Let me hear from Honorable Poka. What do you think about this this prerogative of mercy that has been extended to NUP supporters?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think before I said anything, on behalf of the PFF, I wanted to condole to the family of the Nyanjura Dorin, the Deputy Lord Mayor of Kampala, because the brother was gunned down 2 days ago, one day, last night, the other night. And yesterday we were for funeral service at the St. Luke Church, and the body was transported to Chenjojo and buried tomorrow. So we really regret that kind of act, that in 20th century you still have innocent person, a young boy not married or 33, somebody just go and take away his life. So it is very unfortunately, and we encourage her to be strong as a family, and we'll stand with them. On the issue, you know, the question here is politics. For me, I would do, as a medical person, I would examine how were the NUP people arrested. Were they really criminal by that time? Or they were arrested because they were doing a democratic process under the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda? That is the question. And my answer is no. They were not arrested. The arrest was illegally. Because if Museveni wanted to run alone, he would even declare himself the live president and no election. So these people were apprehended during election process. And they were incarcerated and taken to a military court, which is outside the civil court. And for me, I think one thing which pains some of us and why we are in opposition is injustice. When you see the injustice we have in the country, make you feel like not to be a Ugandan. So I think I'm happy that, of course, they have taken long, because for me I knew there was no charge. All were concocted charge, and with time, you know, Museveni, I don't know whether he did the political science. If he had done political science, it would be a very good person. But he did economy, I think so. So in politics, you see how to manage your opponent. So he had managed the opponent for 4 years. Now he has started campaigning. He had ready to leave them, go back. So for me, I think Museveni knew this is the right time to release them. And when you look at what happened, at first when this guy, I call him guy, now he's an honorable now, went, he's called this man from... yeah, Balaam. When Balaam said, I'm going to negotiate, for me I thought he was going to joke. And when he made the statement in Parliament, and when he was taken to be sworn as a minister, he made his statement, and people took it lightly. I think they are all things of the 18 were just negotiated, and I know there are still more NUP who are still in Chitala. If Museveni is really is about mercy, I would call him to release every political prisoner in the country, and that is what I believe in. But this one is just at least now I have a story. At least now I don't know. For us in the PFF, I know he had already thrown a bomb in NUP camp, because those who were doubting the man now say, okay. But I really sympathize with the family, because being in the, for us, we had been in the war for some time. And when you have a situation and you don't have the head of the family for 4 years, that means no children had gone to school. Many relatives might have died because we were not there to provide for them. I don't know whether this relief of them would compensate those time where you spend, you lost your relative. I think it is something which people should not take it. Even whether they may be jubilating. In fact, I saw yesterday the NUP president where the way he was excited. But for me, I would look at what about the impact of the arrest? Who will account for them?
Thank you. It's my pleasure to, of course, have Bate back again on the panel. Bate, speak to our viewers. Beka Bate is a senior journalist and he works with the Uganda Radio Network.
I like him. He's a good man.
Thank you very much, my friend Apollo, for inviting me here as usual. Viewers, he normally invites me, but the problem, the problem sometimes his invites come in a little bit when I've already scheduled a number of things to do and I'm unable to come. But whenever I can, I will make it a point to come here. And I want to thank you for inviting me and also the viewers for watching on a chilly Saturday like this. We also want to thank the proprietor of this television station, Pastor Ujing. I told you I like Pastor Ujing. The other day you called me when I was listening to him. One of the things, I don't agree with him on many things, but at least I like him for one thing, that he doesn't take prisoners. If he believes in a matter, he will drive it with all the force it needs, irrespective of how it's going to be understood. And that is a good character. So I am happy to be on a station that is appropriate.
Thank you. But straight to the issue around the release of the NUP supporters. Comrade Rugarama says that possibly this undermines the importance and associated with the prerogative of mercy. And Honorable Poka says that this was much more of a political gimmick.
First of all, I think for me what it does, it speaks to what we have been saying and what the courts on 3 occasions have said, that the military court martial is not a court. It's simply a tribunal that does the president's bidding.
Disciplinary tribunal.
That's what the president does. Imagine. Because the entire panel is appointed by the president. Not that the president is not the one who appoints the judges, but at least for them there is a process through which the appointments of judges is done. Of course, the president abuses that for a factor, you know, because there was even a challenge to the appointment of Kavuma, that he never went through the Judicial Service Commission. So he imposes them. But at least there is a semblance that there is a process that is followed for somebody to appoint. But I was reading the judgment, 2 judgments, the last judgments on the court martial. One was written by the late Kakuru. The other, the most recent, was written by Justice, I forget her name, the justice who was on the Court of Appeal hearing the Tojukwatako case at Mbali. What is her name? She's now at the Supreme Court. She said that this tribunal military court is not a court of judicature in the sense of a court. First of all, and this is what I want to say in which the point she made in her argument, that a court in its sense, first of all, the tenure, security of tenure of the judges.
Guaranteed.
The law council, I mean the Law Society, many judges, many people wanted to chase Justice Chaudhry. Is it Singh Chaudhry? But they failed until he finished he retired. Because it is so hard to chase a judge. When you've been appointed a judge, the process through which you can be pushed out is so stringent that it is hard to beat. And there is no, in history, there is no judge who has ever been expelled. So at least now the judge is going to determine the case with some level of independence. But now, the president, these ones who don't even have a tenure, he can chase them the following day. First, he can change them as of when he wishes. Number 2, he is their commander-in-chief. Imagine, because you see, people are arrested because it is the state that arrests the executive arm, because the police is under the executive arm of the government, and the military are under the executive arm of the government. So they arrest you. So it means that the head of the state is the one complaining about you. So he arrests you. Then he hands you to people who are directly answerable to him to determine whether you have actually committed a case against that head of state and this military. So really, do you expect justice from that?
So that makes it more, I mean, less independent.
Exactly. That makes it not a court. Because a court, you know, we say that justice must not be done, but must be seen to be done. So Baram is not a minister, is not attorney general.
Is the minister in charge of youth?
No, he's not attorney.
And children
In Uganda, roles of government are split. The attorney general, and the DPP. And by the way, it was not even the DPP. It's the military court, because the prosecutor is called the advocate judge advocate. He's a military man. So you have a military complaining about you. You have a military who are the judges. You have the military who are going to give you the sentence. So do you expect justice? It's a wonder that they do things that are outside the law. They will tell you it is pre-bargain. That is no pre-bargain. Good thing for me, I went to Ruzila and interacted with Olivia Lutaya, and I interacted with Mwahidin Kakoza.
Olivia Lutaya is one of those who were released yesterday.
Yes. They told us, Baram came to us and told us, if you are not released, I mean, if you don't plead guilty, you are going to rot from here. That is not pre-bargain. Because pre-bargain, you first accept that actually I have committed a crime. You get? So these ones were pushed into accepting the crime. Number two, so because they were pushed into accepting the crime, they pleaded guilty. But I want to draw you to two cases. First, there was a case in Royal recently, I was reading about it. The judge said the Court of Appeal released the guy who had been accused of raping 3 children. He was a teacher of primary school and was released for, he was arrested in 2015 for raping 2 children. 3. He pleaded guilty. And he was convicted on his own plea of guilt, and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. When the Court of Appeal was hearing his appeal, they said even if someone pleads guilty, there are basics that must first be agreed upon. You get? There are things that the ingredients that must be met. You just don't say, for example, you might plead guilty when you're actually trying to shield somebody else who committed a crime. So you say, I am guilty. Yet there's somebody else you are trying to shield. So court must go through all these things to see that actually your plea of guilt is actually a true plea of guilt, and there is no force behind you pushing. But we know for a fact that these guys, they told me, I'm not speaking through anything. I heard from their ears that the minister came here on a Saturday when they don't even visit prisoners, and told us, if you don't plead guilty, you will not be...
You'll rot in prison.
And this is what Lutaya told me. She said, there is nothing as bad as being in prison, never knowing when you are going to get out. Because as I speak to you now, 4 years down the road, their case had not been heard.
They were on remand.
They were on remand. 4 years on remand. You don't know by the time they will sentence you. She told us yesterday, she said, I didn't attend, but she said that there are people, and I've also had it myself in previous visits to prison. People have been in prison for 7, 10 years on remand, not after they've been sentenced. Now you are there. She told us, at least if you are there. There was a lady, an old woman we saw who had been sentenced to 25 years in prison for murder. She has done 18. She knows that in the next 7 years, I will be out. These ones are in prison. They never know when they will be out. Therefore, really, I really want to understand them. Me, I was arrested one time and spent 1 day at police, not even in prison. Yeah. That was the longest night of my life. You check I went in they broke procedure. They left me to go with my watch. You check the watch, it is 9:30. You spend a lot of time without checking. You check when it is 9:45. The day doesn't come.
Time.
So surely,
Time.
4 years. These boys, all of them, none of them had a house in Kampala that they are going to go back to. We have in Kampala, in Uganda, many of the people have people we call come we stay. People you have not married. You see, you just meet in church or wherever you have gone, wherever. So you begin staying together. They have no commitment to you. They left.
You find your family blocked.
You have no family. Because you see, you have been renting a house in Kawala with the old person whom you have come to stay with. She can't look after herself. And the children. So surely she's going to leave as day follows night.
So you're
So
saying
surely the conditions in which
this
we put
was
them
an injustice.
exactly.
On-
And you see what I so bad I'm saying that I thank His Excellency the President for exercising mercy and allowing these guys, I mean, pardoning these people. It is him who had arrested him for them for 4 years and he never brought any center of evidence against them to be convicted. It's like when we were growing up, our parents would beat us and they tell us after, say thank you. You see, that was not different. So for me, I think we are in a situation where, and nobody, by the way, before I say that, nobody, not even the NRM people think that these people are guilty of any crime. Their only crime perhaps is to put on red berets. But we see NRM people putting on yellow berets and nothing is done to them. The idea of looking away when your people are committing what you call a crime and then you arrest others for doing the same thing that your people are doing cannot be accepted.
That is selective justice.
Yeah, exactly. And I hear the NRM people say, democracy, 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 Uganda is a democracy. Which kind of democracy is that? Maybe the last
Thank
point,
you.
I don't listen to this. The last point I want to make, and it is very key also. In the last 2 years, or maybe a year, they have arrested and sentenced like 3-4 people. The crime for abusing the president. You see,
Especially TikTokers.
yes, TikTokers, people on what on Facebook and what. You see, me, I am a critic of President Museveni. I think he should have left the presidents of Uganda long time ago. He's a liability to Uganda. Of course, there is a language I will not use because he is of the age of my grandfather. So there is a language that I will not use on him. There is a language I will not use on the CDF, even when I believe that he surely shouldn't be a CDF. But there is a language that I will not use. But that does not mean that the person who uses the language then is a criminal. Because in a democracy, it includes saying things you don't want to listen to. It includes insulting you. That is what you call a democracy. Democracy has all of these things. You don't pick and choose that in a democracy you only go for elections and that is it. No, in a democracy you don't pick and choose. It is a corrective. You don't pick what you want to take and what you don't want to take. So it goes to the children what these guys have been arrested for and these TikTokers. I think that the NRM should develop some thick skin to withstand some things if they still want to tell us that this is a democracy. Otherwise, then they vindicate those who say that in Uganda we don't have democracy, but it's a dictatorship.
Thank you so much, Becca Bate, senior
I
journalist.
talk a lot.
Yes, and he works with the Uganda Radio Network. Welcome once again, viewers. Send in your comments and observations. We now go straight to the main topic, looking at the circumstances surrounding the arrest and arraignment of retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye alongside Haji Obed Lutale in the military court over charges related to undermining national security. I will quickly look through these charges. Let me make the record clear as we kick off the debate. One of the charges leveled against Dr. Kizza Besigye, the first count, it is relating to security contrary to section 128 clause 1F of the UPDF Act. That's one. The prosecution also states that Dr. Kizza Besigye and Haji Lutale and others still at large between October 2023 and November 2024, while in Geneva, Athens and Nairobi held meetings aimed at soliciting for logistical support and identifying military targets in Uganda with the intent to prejudice the security of the defense forces. Well, other counts relate to illegal possession of firearms. They were allegedly found with 2 pistols, and possibly that's why they are in the military court.
And ammunition, 8 rounds of ammunition.
Yes, 8 rounds of ammunition, pistol ammunition.
Yes.
Let me start with Honorable Poker. At least for you, you have had an opportunity to listen to Dr. Kizza Besigye while he's in Luzira. You met him yesterday. What do you make of the circumstances? his arrest in Nairobi, and then reports circulate that Kizza Besigye is missing. Then after 3 days, he's brought to court, a military court in Kampala. Quickly give us that preamble, your opinion on the circumstances surrounding these arrests.
Well, thank you. Yokatoe. Your name?
Apollo.
Apollo. Yeah, thank you, Apollo and Livia. It is unfortunate that Ugandan, you might be young, and for us who have now lived long, I witnessed Obote, also somehow Amin, and then I've also seen Tito and then Museveni. And before 2006, I thought the UPDFs and the security forces of Uganda are the most well-disciplined forces ever I've met or I've seen. But after removing of the term limit, the security started working for Museveni, not for Ugandan. And as I talked, for now, their integrity and reputation has gone down. I must tell them when they're hearing. I had known Besigye for a long time. Besigye left for Nairobi in the morning, Saturday, for the launch of the book. He was invited by Martha Karua, the NUP party leaders. And the launch was supposed to be on Sunday. So he arrived and checked in the hotel. And after checking, then he was supposed to go for a meeting. For me, I don't call it arrest. Besigye entered the meeting venue 4:30. And the driver who dropped him waited until 4 a.m. in the morning. And so he was abducted. Because when I talked to him yesterday, he said, Kenneth, when he went to enter the meeting, then forcefully was whipped. Even the driver didn't know the doctor left. He was pushed into the vehicle at 5:30. So for him, he was there thinking.
Who arrested him?
Of course, people playing loaders and the operative. So he was just, even for him, he didn't know. So finally, doctor was abducted from Kenya, not even arrested, because the allegation put on him put integrity question on the immigration, like the civil habitual authority, because nobody, I have entered the airport, nobody entered the airport without being checked. And I'm happy I saw a tweet from Tafire, which he also said equal, I'm quoting because I saw it in my social media, that equal and checks with the immigration of Entebbe. They check and basically they did not add a gun. And he also checked with the Nairobi. There was nothing. I had been in Nairobi. One thing I wanted to tell you, when you go to all this apartment, there is a check. All this apartment has security, and they will check you. And even they asked you, do you have harm? Before even you entered. So
you're saying it can't be true that he entered with a gun?
I just dismissed it completely because I'm very, that's why I'm talking on TV. There's no way you entered through the immigration without being checked. And you can tell me you entered with a gun and you board a plane, then all these people in Entebbe should be shocked. That means we are not safe. If doctor left Kampala with a gun, then we don't have immigration in Uganda. Because that is a real something which everybody would want. That means we are not safe. So for me, I think the entire thing is abduction. And the reason why we condemn this in the stronger term, that doctors stayed here in Kampala. If Ugandan or the state want to arrest him, they would arrest him from here. I don't know if the people who carry this exercise know the repercussion of this, because now it's a question of international issues, not now a matter of Uganda, this one, the doctor. No. First of all, he had put the government of Ruto in check. the Kenya are asking, do we really have a government? Because there is no way a person of a caliber of Dr. Besigye be abducted from your country. And then you think the whole world take it lightly. First of all, tell people that Kenya is not safe for all Ugandans. Maybe we may be having abduction here in Uganda, but it is quiet. Nobody come openly. But now this one, now, so that there is really a problem. So the whole thing which I wanted, that even if the state wanted to sanction charges and arrest doctor, they would have not arrested him from Kenya.
All right.
They would have arrested him from Uganda. And I visited him yesterday. Doctor is very strong. And when I spoke to him for 1 hour, he said, this is just the beginning, because I am trying to look at this from a political perspective. And I want to say this, things, nobody knows Museveni more than Dr. Besigye. Nobody in NRM, even those who said we are NRM, you know, is a doctor. If he is a doctor, the doctors of medicine, by the time a doctor injects you, that means you have seen all your part. So the fact of the matter, Dr. Besigye had been a personal doctor to Museveni, and they had been in the bush. So that means if he talks about the intellect, Museveni knows doctor is one of them. He's talked about the struggle, he knows. So for me, even yesterday I was telling him, I said, doctor, I think the problem, Museveni fear you more than any other person. Even if you are said to passes here, Museveni will run away. So the only thing is, for us, we are now projecting the 2026. Maybe the assumption is that maybe doctor want to come back for maybe for election. So what they're trying to do is try to put charge, do this. And as the promoter of PFF, we are not shaken completely, and we are very strong. And we encourage all our supporters all over the country that doctor is very strong, and he had sent his greeting to all Uganda. But the question is, he said, if people should not take, and one thing I really thank the journalists, because when doctor was brought to the military, all of them, even I saw him, everybody was there. And when I look at the charge, I asked, and I must ask this on television, whether this court-martialed the entire people who sat there went to school, and which university.
Okay. That's good. Thank you so much, Honorable Poka. Let me hear from you, Comrade Rugarama.
Let me start with...
You are a lawyer.
Yes, sure.
We will try our best not to go into to muddle into sub-judice.
The merits of
we leave the court
case
to determine whether Kizza Besigye is guilty or innocent. But look at the circumstances. He is in Nairobi. He's arrested. At least from what he told Honorable Poka here, he said by plain-clothed people, individuals, and this after 3 days he's in the military court in
Now, my brother Senior Opoka should not get worried about the charge sheet. If the charge sheet is defective, then it plays in favor of Kizza Besigye's legal team. My brother Elias Rukwago is a very knowledgeable lawyer, and he should even be smiling if that charge sheet is defective. So I hope that matter is rested. Let's not go into the merits and demerits of the charge sheet. Even the charges themselves, by the way. Just a little bit about the bringing back of retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye from Kenya. From my literal understanding of the military operations, it is almost practically impossible. Maybe if you want to do the Israeli-Ugandan thing.
Of 1976.
That Uganda, even if we pride in UPDF ability to carry out covert and overt military operations, that you can go to Kenya and you bundle up a man like
an opposition leader,
Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye, without the input of the national forces of Kenya. Certainly, I want to state, without any single of doubt, that the government of Dr. William Ruto and the forces were involved. Now, as to whether we have got a treaty with Kenya of the extradition treaty, or not is another debate, but I want to believe that we have such a thing. Now, what I want to focus on for me actually is that even if it was not Dr. Chiza Besigye and Kamarege, because you see there must be that next year also, and we seem not to be interrogating it. What was, for this, at a later date, I believe that will come up. What was Haji Obed Kamarege doing with Dr. Chiza Besigye, and what was, were they arrested from the same place? Was Dr. Abed Kamrege also, Haj Abed Kamrege was also invited to the book launch? You see that kind of thing, all those things.
I think from what I read about, the meetings in Geneva, the meetings...
Oh yes, it comes... No, we are talking about this particular...
Alleged meetings in Geneva and Athens.
Yes.
Possibly...
Because I didn't want to go to...
That's how Haji Obed comes in.
Oh.
But in Nairobi it is...
So where was Haji picked from?
I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. So that's why I prayed, and like we said that we wouldn't want to go deep into the nexus of this matter. We just look at a few things to help us appreciate, because when we have somebody like retired Colonel Dr. Chiza Besigye arrested, we cannot pretend that everything is okay and then we just leave it at that. But the little that we are discussing now, somebody should be asking himself, how does Haji Kamarege come in? Where was he also picked? They were together, also on the same, being bundled together. And they appeared together in the military court, which of course twice I think our courts, as we know them, have pronounced themselves over the same matter, that civilians should not be tried in military courts. And they have gone ahead, and I think that was the Constitutional Court. Constitutional Court is the court that interprets the laws.
There was an appeal in the Supreme Court.
The appeal is still lying in the Supreme Court. It has not been determined, meaning therefore that we are kept in that abeyance. As it is now, the civilians being tried who are associated with committing crimes that are bordering on the military arena is still in abeyance, but the law books, when you look at the UPDF Act, because it has not been repealed, and the fact that we still have the appeal in the Supreme Court not yet disposed of, makes the constitutional, the military court illegal. It is still there. We can't wish it away. But we, at the back of our mind, we can also not think that what the lower courts, the High Court and the Constitutional Court, have said about the military courts is something that we should throw away. No, we have to realize that. But maybe also to note that all faith is not lost. Why do I say so? It is not the first time that retired Colonel Dr. Chiza Besigye has been arrested. And even when he has been arrested, the courts, you remember the matter of Chakwa, the rape case. When you read that judgment of the retired Justice John Bosco Katuse, and you look at how he even described some of the investigating officers, including a senior investigating officer, Kutesa then, who was actually the director, at the rank of a director, you can see, and of course Chiza Besigye ended up winning that that
So
case.
you're saying he has been a victim of
No,
trumped up charges?
not what I'm saying is that the very system NRM, our NRM, we cannot rubbish it and say no, everything is lost. Even if you don't have to be NRM to appreciate some of the positives that are there. How?
Which
What do I
positive
mean?
are you talking about
What
now?
do I mean, for instance? If we fought the arresting officer, for instance, in the Chakwa matter, you remember. If we fought the arresting and investigating officer, then the same courts under the NRM came up and pronounced themselves and acquitted Chiza Besigye. So what do you say?
You're saying justice will be served?
Absolutely. Not only that, let me add this also. The same Chiza Besigye, you remember, 206, and my senior brother here must be, and my younger brother, journalist here, must remember this too. 206, when he was bundled up and taken to Rizera, and there was a legal opinion by our senior brother, the late now, Dr. Chudu Makubuya, when he was still the Attorney General, that he should not be nominated. Electoral Commission, which he was actually supervising, said no.
He should be nominated.
The man should be nominated. He was nominated from Missouri. The Bet Kamias and what have you were the ones there. What happened? Is it not around that same time, by the way, that he came so close? I think it was his percentage. Again, of course, there was a claim that there was cheating, that he's the one who
Which was
won the
proved
election.
in court.
You see? But
The claim was proved
as
in
we
court.
wind up.
It is no longer a
but
claim.
so, no, the proving, if it was proven, when they said that there were malpractices,
Comrade, you're saying
just a minute, let me say,
even when his rights have been violated, that's what you're saying.
I'm saying
justice will be served.
I'm
later.
saying that sometimes, even when we get some of these instances, which seem not to be what probably a good number of, a good section of the Ugandans expected, there will always be checks, points where the other sections of society, the other institutions will come up and do the right
But you
thing.
do find the arrest somehow questionable, having somebody picked from Kenya and he surfaces in
the number of talking points, and I think I was maybe let me also go
Just 1 minute,
a little
because we're
bit
going for a
back,
break.
There are a number of talking points. At this material time, we ask ourselves as to whether probably our intelligence system could not have done it any better. But the problem is that we are not in the intelligence system. We don't know after that book launch probably what
would have happened.
what
He may
the
not-
Kano
he could
was trying to do.
Oh.
So it becomes very unfair for me. Because you see, when we talk about somebody being arrested,
Opoka asks, why wouldn't they have left him to come back and maybe...
no, that one, that's why I'm saying that you don't know
If
what
he would
the
have come back or
information,
not.
what the information that the intelligence have. Why did they have to
Okay.
arrest him at that point and from that place at the way they did it? Because probably they had information that what was going to follow immediately thereafter. I'm just saying.
They may have a
Probably.
reason to justify
Yes.
what they did.
And I'm not going
Thank you so much, Comrade Dulkarama. We go for a short break. When we return, we again interrogate the circumstances around the arrest of Dr. Kizza Besigye alongside Haji Obed Lutale, who are now in Luzira prison on remand until December, is it December 4th?
Second.
And of course, the discussions now are questioning again the legality of the military court trying civilians, and the big question here is how the operation was conducted in a foreign country.
The Kawaziguruka's matter is not yet.
Okay, let's go for a break, and when we return, the dialogue proceeds with this in-depth analysis. Welcome from the break. This is the dialogue on Sol TV. My name is Prince Apollo, and on the panel this morning, we have Beka Baterule, a senior journalist working with the Uganda Radio Network. we have Comrade Daniel Rugalama, a scholar and a Pan-Africanist. We also have Honorable Poka Geoffrey, former contestant in the race for Agago County, Gogo North, and he is the lead promoter of the People's Front for Freedom, a new outfit from, the Katonga faction. We are still interrogating the circumstances around the arrest and arraignment of Dr. Kizza Besigye, who was arrested in Nairobi, and the charges relate to undermining the security of Uganda. Let me quickly read the comments before I get Bate to share his opinion. And I still encourage you viewers to send in your comments and contributions on this matter. Good morning, Apollo and the panel. I want to agree with the doctor that the prerogative of mercy should not be seen as something easy to get, but also reading from the events that continue to unfold in the political space, then we as the community, we expected this pardon the day these members pleaded guilty, because we shouldn't take politics away from this issue. Mr. Apollo, I am Abel Kelwa Kampumuza. Thank you so much for watching and for that comment. He's commenting on the release of the 19 supporters of Robert Sentam Chagulanyi and the National Unity Platform.
They are 18.
They are 19.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Magoba Shafik from Gaba. And he says, but this country. Anyway, he says, please ask Mr. Rugalama, Aroza Uganda inetera inaterera kubigenda mu maaso. Anyway, he's saying, are you confident that Uganda will be will stabilize and the politics will stabilize anyway?
We were worse off.
From what is happening?
We were worse off.
Oh, so we are better off.
We are improving.
Okay.
It's work in progress.
Okay. Another comment here. You can send by WhatsApp on 0701 609906. The producer will run it on the screen. But you can also send an SMS. We'll be reading those messages as they come in. Good morning. The General Court Martial Tribunal, not court, is a symptom of the fading intelligence of the ruling junta. It is hopping from one political scandal to another. Let's just wait for the next person they will bogusly frame with their guns. Remember, they know nothing else except guns, not tomatoes or butunguru. The mafias in security care about their per diem to Nairobi. They don't care about President Museveni anymore or the image of Uganda. They pocketed their cut. The rest, sort yourself out. Maybe one general's post that Nairobi can be captured in minutes is now also confirmed. Nobody in Kabari. He makes interesting opinions there. Okay, thank you so much, Norbert. Good morning, Apollo. With the NUP supporters, the witness failed to bring in evidence for their imprisonment. But for the case of Dr. Besigye and the company, please, were the pistols Ugandan or Kenyan? And which country is supposed to handle him? And what do you comment about immigration officers of both countries? Let Mr. Daniel help me. It's unfair. Why didn't Uganda be patient for Besigye to come back to the motherland and arrest him with evidence? James is in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much, you wise men and women of from the east. Anyway, hello, Apollo and the panelists. Thanks for the great show. The kidnap of Dr. Besigye and the subsequent arraignment in court martial has dented further the already damaged image of our country, where abuse of human rights and lack of democracy has now become the order of the day. The president should desist from using the military to prosecute his political opponents, because the military is supposed to be neutral. Dr. Besigye is the best opposition leader Uganda has ever had, who has brilliant ideas, cares about the ordinary Ugandans, and is determined. I believe if given a chance by Ugandans one time, he can transform our country in a shorter time, the way His Excellency Magufuli transformed Tanzania. Cleophas Masaba, Raboba Inimbale, thank you so much for that comment. I will, for now, hold the messages at that and hear from Bate. I don't know where you can start from.
I want to start because this entire story, I happen to be the first journalist to write the story on this entire matter.
Good.
So I really know a little bit about it. Actually, my organization, Uganda Radio Network, was perhaps the source of the information, even for the FDC, the Katonga Go.
Wow.
But let me say this. On Sunday, when somebody told us that Besigye has been arrested at Makinde, of course, there is very few of us who would believe that that can be possible. That the state of Uganda can go to Nairobi. And because it has done it in the past, 36 of the FDC people are.
Katonga.
But these ones, it's hardly, you can hardly know them. You can hardly tell that this is who, this is who. But to arrest Besigye in Nairobi, bando him when they can't drive him to Kampala. I don't know how many kilometers are those.
600.
Besigye is aging. He's an old man now.
Yeah. 67?
Surely driving him 67, driving him from Nairobi to Kampala is such an injustice. Little wonder that actually on Sunday, on Sunday evening, was.
Do we know if he was driven on the road or he was airlifted?
No, he was driven on the road.
Driven.
Hey.
Yes, that is confirmed.
He was driven on the road.
Even the senior Opoku can justify that.
They had to bring a doctor to him because his house was a little bit not okay. But let me tell you this. For me, Mr. Algalam here said that what do we know he was about to do? Let me remind him of something. In 2015, the government of Uganda was, the government of Tanzania arrested Jamil Mukulu. Jamil Mukulu has been accused of all manner of crime. There are still accusations.
In DRC.
In DRC. But the government of Uganda saw, and Besigye, for your information, the crimes for which Jamil Mukulu has been accused of, Dr. Besigye has not been accused of. So the crimes of Jamil Mukulu are far more superior than those accused of Besigye. Because the other one said he's in terrorism, he's in this and that, and there are so many things. But the government of Uganda did not kidnap Jamil Mukulu from Tanzania. You know, they went through a process, they applied in a court in Tanzania, and they allowed here, the Attorney General went and argued the matter. And then they agreed. But because this government doesn't respect the law, 50, how many years now? He was arrested in 2015, now it's 2024. That is 10 years down the road. He has never, his cases have never been heard. 10 years down the road, none of his cases has been determined, 10 years. But be it as it may, even for him, who has been accused of international crimes, he went through the process. Then how about a man who has not been accused? I mean, who has not been accused of serious crimes? You go and kidnap him from a neighboring country and you bring him back to Kampala. Dr. Besigye, for all purposes and intents, he's the most hardened politician in Uganda. If you tell him that we are going to arrest you tomorrow, that if you step at State Square, that we are going to arrest you, you'll be at State Square in the morning. They not knowing that he's going to be arrested. So he's not a man who is known for running away from trouble. He actually goes where the trouble is.
Actually, information. When he was in South Africa, intelligence reports were to the effect that if the moment you step in Uganda, Kampala, you will be arrested. He came, nevertheless.
That is the man. Even the NRM person agrees that this is not the man you go and kidnap. So even, perhaps what he has just given, the information
is also NRM.
No, the information you have just provided actually invalidates your own argument. You see, he has also walked back his argument, that his argument really was, for lack of a better word, was not the argument he should have put up. So let me say this. We without going into whether this matter, because you see, even I think the Constitutional Court, for the cases for which Besigye was arrested, other than the rape, the PRA cases, the Constitutional Court threw them away. He said Besigye can no longer achieve justice in this matter. Therefore, all cases arising from the PRA case are dismissed henceforth. So they were never heard because. And they were in the court we are talking about the court martial when it was under General, now the late Tumine. So let me tell you, for me, I think President Museveni must. How does he want to end his presidency? Because surely his presidency is going to come to an end. Whether through political agitation, the likes that my brother Opoka is engaged in, or otherwise, he's 80. He confirms the official age is now 80.
Otherwise is what?
No, no, I don't know. He could be.
National cost. For him, he's fearing national cost.
Mr. Museveni has said, Mr. Museveni has said that he doesn't know when he was born. Therefore, I'm not very far from saying that he could be more than 80. He's claiming, because himself he said he doesn't know when he was born. Be it as it may, his presidency surely is in its evenings. Surely, by all standards, even if we don't, even if I tell the Opokas, don't do anything, sit home, this presidency is going to run out because he's 80 and he's been at this job for 40 years. I saw him the other day cutting a banana stem. You see a man who is tired. You saw the president cutting the banana stem.
But the stem was cut. Nevertheless, the stem was cut.
But
No, the point I'm making, even if you are
not discuss.
The stem was not only cut,
Let's not
but
discuss
also
the
about the
physical.
No,
year
it is
was
part
saying
of it.
go.
Because
this job of the president also requires the physical. Today is intense, so do you go there when you don't have energy?
Yeah, but
let me tell you, the point I'm making, how does Museveni want us to remember him when he's no longer president of Uganda? Because
so you're saying it now dents his legacy.
one of
That's
the,
what that was saying. That's
yes,
what
one
you're
of
saying.
our listeners has just asked something, and this one is like, it is work in progress. But I want to ask these people, the NRM people, tell me one thing, just one thing, that Museveni accused Obote, that he accused Amin, that he has not done multiple times. So because progress means that you walk away from what you've been doing, from what you have been abusing others for doing, and do better. Just this morning, the topic with which we started, we've started with the topic of arresting people for their political views. Dr. Besigye joined Museveni simply because he was arrested for how he thought. We are talking about the second topic we're talking about, kidnapping people from not only in Uganda but in a neighboring country. These are the crimes in Museveni's book, Sowing the Mustard Seed, and in his wife's book, My Life is Done. They talk about one thing. They said they were living in Nairobi. But they had to shift to Sweden because the Nairobi, this is in their books, the Nairobi government was in the business of kidnapping Ugandans and returning it to Obote, either for arresting or for killing or for what have you. So therefore, Museveni had to transfer his family from Nairobi to Sweden, where he thought they were safer. Now, these are the crimes he has written about that the previous governments of Uganda have been doing. He is doing. Therefore, we are not making progress with the NRM. The circle is now complete.
Like Comrade Rugarama is saying that it is working.
No, there is no progress.
It's much better.
No, it is reverse. Much better what? Because I have told you, is it extrajudicial killings? This is in November. It is just recently that we were celebrating 18 and 19. In the admission of the state of Uganda, it killed 53 people. What did they subject? What kind of due process were they subjected to?
Extrajudicial killing?
Extrajudicial, yes.
Where?
You don't remember the people were killed in November 2020?
Where was that?
No, in Kampala here and around the
In
country.
the roads.
You see, and what is the extrajudicial killing?
No, that
What
can't
is it?
equate- That can't equate to
No, what is extrajudicial killing?
You two are
Killing a
lawyers.
person,
No.
killing a person without subjecting them to the due process of the law. And these
When
people,
there is a
in the evidence, in their own admission, they killed 53. It is in November still. In 2016, they killed over 100 in Kasese. So we are saying we are not making progress with the NRM.
What
Either we are in retardation or we are in reverse. There is no progress. Okay, but before I switch to Comrade Rugarama, speak about this operation that was done on the Kenyan soil. You alluded to it, but you didn't expound on it. What does now that mean in foreign relations and international law? just in 1 or 2 minutes.
I think for me, what is happening in Kenya is one of the reason why we are supporting, me particularly, let me talk about myself, why I was supporting Raila Odinga for presidency of Kenya, because I said then that Museveni literally is the reason why we still have Salva Kiir in the north. Museveni
shouldn't.
No, he shouldn't be president. No. He had been overthrown and Museveni propped him up. And good things, some of these things, I was there on the 13th when that government nearly collapsed in South Sudan. Museveni, he's responsible for the president in Rwanda. Museveni, now we are saying, how can we have another president in Kenya when literally is the son of the president? You see, Ruto has been in this country here campaigning for Museveni. On the campaign trail, you remember him in Captura? Because he speaks the same language as people of Captura. So he was there convincing them why they should be voting for President. So we thought that if you allow Kenya to have a President Museveni there, perhaps some of the things that are happening in Uganda will happen in Kenya. You see,
So it should be in the interest of Kenyans also to interrogate these matters.
Exactly. I think it was a bad decision for Raila Odinga to begin to ally with the Ruto, because then you remove the checks and balances of the state. Because states everywhere, this is philosophical, states everywhere will want to dominate. We want to rule without oversight. They always gravitate towards the bad. States, most of the states, always gravitate towards Therefore, they must have somebody to check them when they are trying to gravitate towards the bad. And because now in Nairobi, there is no opposition almost, therefore anything can pass. So I think for me, Ruto did committed one of those things. You see, even when you check the conventions, one of the people they don't return to another country are people who are political persecution. Even if Besigye was running away from Kenya, under the international principles, you cannot return him to Uganda, especially if he's running away from politics. But he was not even running away; he was returning to Uganda. So I don't know why Kenya got involved in. A quagmire of this magnitude.
I think the latest statement they issued was that they didn't know about.
Then Ruto has no business in being president. Operation. Because a person comes on your land and carries out. You see, it has happened in Canada. The Indians went and killed a Sikh, this one, Sikh, S-I-K-H, the operative who is agitating for independence back in India. They went and killed him. But they did not kidnap him. When they wanted, the Saudis wanted to kidnap Khashoggi, they sent their hits, a group that killed him and transported him in briefcase.
Body bag.
Yes. They did not go there, bundle him in a car and drive him to because you can't cross international borders surely when you are someone is kidnapping you cannot. But Dr. Besigye told us through people who have visited him that he was picked by Ugandans and put in a Kenyan vehicle and transported to the border, and they kept on talking on the phone along the way.
So the Kenyan authorities must have known about this issue and possibly helped the operation to be successful.
Not possibly. Let me tell you, a state does two things. The cardinal principles of the state, the roles of the state is to protect people and their property. Even if, actually, let me tell you, even if I am killed here by an unknown person who is not affiliated with the state of Uganda takes liability because the primary responsibility of my protection is with the state. Therefore, if Besigye is kidnapped because he was legally in Kenya, he was under the protection of the government of Kenya. Even if, by the way, he was kidnapped when the state of Kenya doesn't know, it takes responsibility because the act happened in their land and they are in charge. So because that is the role of the state. Otherwise, if all of us were in charge of our security, then there would not be state. So even if they say they were never at our official level involved, they can never deny liability because they are in charge. Otherwise, they are telling us they are not in charge.
Well, I was looking at a meme. It has been posted on Twitter by Lale Mado, you know, that journalist of CNN, journalist. And it's a map of Uganda. Map of Uganda 2014. It is Kenya in the same map of Uganda. And then it tells the story possible of what now some of the Kenyans think about this whole thing. Honorable, I want you to
There
to
was
tell us?
something I wanted to say before Honorable comes in.
please do.
Just a small thing. The one, I want our audience to take my opinion about the following. The Kasese incident, I don't have to be the or Minister of Defense spokesperson to say that it was a regrettable act to have happened. I would not I would not come here and say that what happened in Kasese, especially in the Rwenzururu Kingdom, was something to be proud of. But I need further and better particulars, which I have never gotten, for me to be able to comment authoritatively as to whether the amount of force that Erweru used and the methods he employed were the best in the circumstances. And I want to leave it at that.
Okay.
Now, two, what I can talk about authoritatively is what I witnessed with my own eyes. Still, I don't have to be NRM for me to comment that in all fairness, what I saw, those people who say they support NUP were doing undressing women, mounting their own roadblocks. If in that fracas, about 56 or 52 people died, still, that is sad. Even one life is enough for me to say, if it is lost in the manner that is not lawful, I want to tell you, it is regrettable. It is very unfortunate that we had about 56 people dying out of that fracas upon the arrest of Bob Wine. The number could have even been worse. We lost a number of good people during the Kasubi incident. We lost another group of people during the Sezibwa brokerage. Yes, we have had those incidences. But I would not put myself on a line. I would not join a category of people who argue that the loss of our brothers and sisters, parents, during the arrest of Bob Wine equates or is equal to extrajudicial killing. Certainly, those were not normal times.
What would you call them? You call them collateral damage?
It is unfortunate that during the altercation between the government forces and the people, I do not have to look for. I do not have to.
Give us a legal term. Don't give us explanation. Give us the legal term. What kind of death is that?
Just unfortunate. Unfortunate death.
All right.
Just unfortunate death.
Let me hear from you.
Probably they would not have died.
Let me hear from Honorable Ponga.
There's no unfortunate death in legal terms.
So it becomes unfortunate.
You are the lead. You're the lead coordinator, promoter of the PFF, and with due respect, and without going into sub judice, in the merits of Kizza Besigye's case, people have been saying, if Kizza Besigye continuously says he doesn't believe in an election, are you planning to participate in the next election? What are you planning?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know,
as PFF,
there's so many things which were said. I think before I answer that question, the core function of the state is to protect the life and the property. And in whatever way, nobody, I wanted to say this, it is unfortunate that the lawyer, I think he may inspire me to go and study law again. Because
the way he's interpreting,
He still has time.
Because I thought lawyers and as the medics are always straightforward. But I want to say, under the constitution of Uganda, nobody should lose his life.
Yeah.
in the hand of anybody.
Yeah, sure.
So for me, when you say people who were killed in Kasese, which was commanded by Eluedo, it was uncalled for. Even people who were killed, at least I'm happy he's coming from the NRM, he said 58 who were killed here in Buganda, here in Kampala, during the campaign period. That was uncalled for. That is why we have different forces. We have the military, we have the police, and we have the prison. And those ones would have been arrested and taken to court because they were not having any. And I wanted to say this: it is now becoming a practice in Uganda that whatever demonstration which is going to happen, you find the military in the street. It has never been during other regimes because the work of the military is to safeguard the nation. The police is to enforce law and order. And none of these people who were killed were tried to arrest and they registered the arrest. And one thing which I wanted to applaud Uganda, that if you come to arrest Kenneth, it will work. I've never seen the Uganda registering arrest council. And that is that means we still believe in the rule of law. So I think Museveni himself, and I want to say, if we are under a democracy, a democratic country, I would think Museveni should come openly and apologize, because people fear to tell him. Because if, like, I'm the head of the family, and under circumstances, my sons, maybe because of my negligence, I owe apology to my family. Maybe if they try to call, like now I'm on the television, TV, and maybe my mother is seriously sick and they needed money, I could not help. By the time I get here, she died. I must apologize and say, sorry, I really failed to do my job. That's all what we are trying to attack Eluedo and the rest of the thing. I think the president have to come out. I still wait for that. Now, back to the question.
You speak about Plan B. You speak about no elections. What is your Plan B?
You see, I wanted to say on 2 occasions, the election of 2006, Dr. Besigye won. And even the election of 2016, Besigye won. And he even said in court that I won't allow me to prove myself. Up to now, the case until either they did, because that is when they charge him with treason. Because when somebody said, I
won all those
for him, he
elections.
said, not that he believed, because he said he have the evidence. Up to now, even when we sit and we interact, he said, Kenneth, let these people allow me prove my case, that he won. They never. So for him, and for us now, I also participate in the election. And that's why I had said earlier on when we are beginning the talk, so that the security forces have to get out of election. Because if they wanted, then they should remove their uniform. Because we don't want to see them during election pretending to safeguard and protect the NRM. And yet they are also candidates. And one thing which they don't know, that if doctor here, we are the same from the constituency. I'm an FDC or PFF, and is an NRM. And then the other one is a UPC. All of us, we are contesting in one constituency, and we have a relative. You come and beat my people. And this is where Uganda has not yet think. You come and beat my people, and you leave his people. What message are you sending to the community? There will be, with time, that you will find a conflict arising in the community, which they may not.
Yes.
So for us, the first thing...
as PFF,
as PFF,
what are you planning?
As PFF, because we believe in the rule of law, though we know justice will not be prevailed. But it's like cutting a tree. If you begin cutting a tree, you don't get tired. We were having a home, which was FDC, and it was captured. So after when it was captured, say, okay, for us who think, let's have a home. So the first idea is we wanted to have a home, and that home is PFF. After when we get there, the question, there are those who would wish to go to election. We will not stop them. Because when you go like the LC1, the LC2, the 83, the Councillor 5, we will not stop people there. And we will continue to advance our struggle of activism. And then, you see, at times people mislead the word defiant and activism. You see, it's like Uganda is sleeping. one thing, if you want to know that, I think, and I want to agree when they say 14 million Uganda are mentally ill. Any small accident, if happen, you will find the whole border people will come and stand and wash. In a country where people are humane, when an accident occurs, doctor will grab Kenneth and put in the car and rush to the hospital. In Uganda here, people come to see, and you will find, and the worst thing with this phone here, even without knowing anything, you find somebody is now posting, without even knowing what happened. That is the level where we reach. So for us, so in activism, we wanted to work. There's a corruption, there's injustice. You see, unemployment, poverty. So when we talk about,
you are more in activism.
Yeah, so ours is to give you the information, and that's why people really misunderstood. When doctor said defiant, because even if you go to election,
when he said plan B.
No, you see, the plan B is not only. Now let me ask this question really. I was talking with somebody. Museveni went to the bush in 1986. No, 1981. He only, by then he contested for election and won only one seat, that is in Kasese. And he claimed that the election was rigged. And he went to the bush and fight the legitimate government. And I asked myself, but Dr. Besigye, who even knew he had won.
He emerged victorious.
Yeah.
He didn't,
okay. After fighting, because at least he's telling me that Kenneth can go and fight and also emerge victorious.
And lead the government.
Yes. So now and that's where I keep beating my understanding that if people thought that the plan B of Dr. Besigye is fighting government, somebody who arrives from a private rank to a colonel, when there was war, not these people who they just arrived from nowhere, then they see them, they are brigadier, they are whatever. They never fought, but these are people who went to the war. Do you think it would be very difficult for him to announce somebody had been?
Okay. I get you now.
So the question of the plan B is not there. Our focus is we continue, and by the way, for us to interact with Doctor himself, he had never at any moment, one moment, thought of going back. He said, you see, the dynamic...
Going back to the bush.
Yeah, the dynamic had changed. Those days there were forests. There was no phone. But now you can't start a war. And this is what we must say. We are not planning to start a war on Museveni. But what we want to do is to awaken Uganda and say, let's get up together. And Museveni must go. You see, his belief is if people go and start demonstration, like what happened in Kenya, do you know Ruto would have gone? This Gen Z. People say, we don't want this. And that is why we want a government who would listen to Uganda.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Opoka is the former contestant for Agago County North constituency, but he's also the lead promoter of the People's Front for Freedom, the new outfit out of the Katonga, of Katonga Road. Hello, Apollo. The reality is that Uganda and Museveni did bad, but Kenya and Ruto did worse. And let's watch Kenya. By the end of Ruto's rule, Kenya will be like a year before the days of Jomo Kenyatta. You didn't give me your name, but thank you so much for that comment. Now it reminds me of the other comment I read on somebody who reminded us that one general said that he was it 2 hours to take over Nairobi. To take over Nairobi.
Maybe they took over Nairobi.
More possible.
That's true, by the way. And you see what we said about Ruto. You know, he has brought one of the amendments to the constitution to extend the term from 5 to 7, and actually also remove presidential term limits. So surely he's taking bad lessons from Uganda.
And he will not succeed.
He's a good student. Hi, this is Julius from Nansana. It is really confusing to see one Jamiru Mukuru charged in a civilian court, and then civilians charged in a military court. Is it confusing?
Yes, it is. Because a man is accused of wanting to overthrow the government, terrorism, and what. He's been a general in the bush. but he's being charged in the International Crimes Division of the High Court.
Actually,
and then civilians who are totally civilian, Hajomed Uchale told us in court that he has never even been a scout. He's been trained in the military court.
Is Jamir Mukule a military man?
Yeah, in the
because
bush,
he has been
ranks in the bush.
Which army?
Don't you say the
Jamir
ADF is an
Mukule,
army?
which army?
Don't you call it the ADF? Don't you say it's
No,
an army? A rebel force?
No, let me give him information.
Give it him.
When Conj was fighting in 70,
even Conj is
many people Conj rank to right the rank to a general, General T. So.
Yeah.
But by the way, even these people in the military, when Museveni came out and said he's a general, which military training did he use? Apart from the
rebel outfit.
Yes.
And that
is what Mukulu is saying. That is also a general. You say, like in Sudan, people have so many generals.
Even if, by the way, we are not the general, even if he wasn't to be, but at least when he's fighting, he's using guns, actual guns.
Yes.
He's not using water and busari.
No,
so,
but I think the issue of
for me, when they say Conj is
civilians
a
being
general, I
tried
ask
in the
myself,
military courts, this is a matter that is being handled.
Yeah.
The delay at the Supreme Court is something that must be worked on.
Yeah.
But I think we have had very good progress in the sense that the High Court, the Constitutional Court have so far pronounced themselves upon this.
I think
maybe we should also
and I think my president, Semakade, had a visit. Isaac Semakade, the president of Uganda.
The man who is banging tables.
He is banging tables. He had a peaceful conversation, and at least he has confided in me that this is a matter he brought up also. The issue of the disposing of the issue.
Courts.
Yes, disposing of that matter.
And by the way, maybe one thing, before Mr. Potter comes in, I think also the Constitution says that the judiciary exercises its judicial duties on and for behalf of the people of Uganda. Therefore, even the powers they use are derived from the power we give them. Therefore, for the Chief Justice to spend, because the Gabazugura case was a 2016 matter.
3 years now.
Now he has never scheduled it for hearing. Nothing, as if he doesn't understand what is going on. I think, Mr. Chief Justice, the power you are using is derived from us, the people. And please, can you schedule this matter for it to be heard and disposed of with? I don't know what they do in the Supreme Court, because you can spend how many months without hearing, without having any matter coming from the Supreme Court. And you see these days, actually, the court has what? How many? 14 judges. Therefore, they cannot still claim that they are overwhelmed. I follow, one of the areas I cover is court. But you can spend 6 months without having a judgment from the Supreme Court. Yet, all the matters that are appealed end up there. So wonder, what do they do? Okay. So, Mr. Chief Justice, please, the power you are using, it is not discretionary powers. It is powers that you derive from the people of Uganda, and the people of Uganda are telling you, can you schedule these consequential cases and they are heard and disposed with? Otherwise, you tempt people to believe that you are actually an extension of the executive, which still wants to charge people in the military courts.
Thank you.
You see, one thing which I want us to be very clear, that the tribunal of the military court, even the law they quote is the UPDF Act, does not apply to a civilian in any way.
No, there is an association that when you are formed...
Yes, I want to say this. Even when we are at court, even the section quoted was for people who are serving in the military. But even if Kenneth is arrested today, maybe with a uniform, the law provides that I should be taken to a civil court for crime division to be tried. Because I've never been a soldier. And I think we must say this one must stop. Because as you said earlier on council, this court, even the member of the court appointed by the president, who is the commander in chief. So how fair is that judgment?
Thank you.
Court?
Thank
so,
you.
and then finally, I think, let me speak as I come from the north. There are three arms of government. We have the executive, the legislative, and then the judiciary. And we would urge it to be independent. And at this appropriate time, I think Chief Justice Dolo, 3 years of the appeal, because now it is a very crucial matter. Because because even the military are saying, okay, the government has appealed and nobody. Can you please go ahead and sanction this and make a ruling so that Uganda arrest? Because otherwise they will be blaming the Chief Justice, that you are not doing your work. Maybe you are now working with the executive, as my senior journalist has said. So for us as Uganda, we want to see, maybe as the lead promoter, maybe when we are going to have a meeting, we need maybe again to petition the Chief Justice so that the matters will be brought for hearing again.
Thank you, Honorable Poka. Thank you, our viewers. Thank you for the comments that are coming in. Like this here, he says, "Good morning, sir, Mr. Lugalama, who sounds to be supporting the kidnap of Besigye in Kenya, claiming that claiming that how do we know what Besigye was about to do? Should be reminded of hundreds of cases which have been brought against Besigye without any success.
I know.
Once the state turns against him, he should also be asking the same question." That politics,
that is intimidating.
That politics of framing charges against people who don't think like you is very old, and people like Mr. Lugalama should be condemning it and advise their president to desist from it. I thank you for the show, and I remain Ntate Richard, watching from the Republic of Seychelles. Thank you so much. In Seychelles, they are watching. He says, thank you, and thank you for the show. I am Makolo Herbert. I support NRM, but I felt bad to hear that doctor was arrested. Let us have respect for the elders. The man is innocent, watching from Nansana. Well, the court will determine. We can't say he's innocent, but it is your opinion. Thank you so much for watching. We need to conclude in just 5 minutes. Good morning, Prince Apollo. Thanks for the show. This is Jesse from Busia. There's nothing like coincidence or luck. So everything in humanity happens by divine authority or permission. Darkness being separated from the light by light, revealing what has been hidden in the name of democracy, law, politics, etc. Everyone who has been doing these things in the we are yet to see. Glory to Christ of Nazareth. Okay, amen. I think we need to wind up.
I just
If I left any message behind, I will apologize, because now I'm to give these people, my guests, their last and parting shot. Mr. Polo, it's like Mr. Bate says, it would look better if Ugandan government had killed Dr. Besigye and returned him in a body bag rather than arresting him alive and returned him to Uganda according to his submission about Khashoggi case in Turkey. I think he was making a comparison.
How it is hard to run for somebody.
I don't think that's what he meant really. No.
Okay,
in defense of
let's have a round of our concluding remarks.
Just 3 things, please. Maybe very quickly.
Just
one,
half minutes.
In all fairness, of course, I have had my young brother, the senior journalist, and his views about NRM. But I will tell him
what do you think of the future of the rule of law in this country relating to what has happened or what is happening?
Where NRM has not gotten it right, I can assure you that the rule of law in the previous governments was a nightmare. I am not in any way saying that we are perfect in NRM. We have got our own shortcomings, but it is work in progress, like I have said. Now, the few isolated cases where we seem not to get it right should not be used as centers of crucifixion. No. And I'm not saying that we have arrived. There are still areas where we can perfect, and like I've said, we are going to perfect.
Good.
What my brother here has been saying about NRM, of course he's entitled to his own views, and I'm not saying that we are immaculate as NRM. We have got areas where we need to perfect, including even in the area of the rule of law. There may have been gaps, who knows, even in the arrest of retired Colonel Dr. Chiza Besigye. But it does not mean that Dr. Chiza Besigye should not be arrested, or me, or any other person.
Could it be that this arrest and what we are seeing has any links with the 2026 elections, like somebody?
It is even possible. Even that is also possible. But it is also possible that there is something that the intelligence has, which certainly we don't have, and they are following it up.
Okay.
What I'm saying in a nutshell
Just
is
one-
that whatever has happened, we need to have proper court processes. The trial of Dr. Besigye Besigye and Abed should be very quick, and at the same time we should not leave gaps such that we are blamed as a government of persecuting rather than
Thank you.
prosecuting.
Honorable Poka, in just 1 minute, your concluding remarks.
Yeah, I think one thing which I wanted to say is all this problem we are trying to encounter is about how Museveni would exit power and hand power to all. So it's about transition. And I think the early Museveni decide to leave is the better for this country, because I know in the life expectancy in Bible also is 70. So Museveni is living on bonus, because Bible says 70 but is in 80s. So when you are that level now, I think they may not be the one making decision, but the young people around him, maybe they are the one making decision. And that has been the complaint, because if the Museveni knew when he took over power and now, it's a different Museveni. I don't know if he met the one of 1986 to 2001 and then the Museveni of 225. Each of them ran away because they would not want to see each other.
Okay.
So I think as PFF, one, we call for expedite prosecution, and because I believe by the time the state arrested Besigye or abducted him, they have evidence. So we would want to see those evidence in court.
Exactly.
And we ask our people to remain calm, and we continue with our activities and as we planned. But the more important, I wanted to speak to security.
10 seconds.
Yeah, is one, let them serve the country. They should avoid serving individual, because individual will go, Uganda will remain.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Oh, no, but just 1 minute and you conclude.
I want to use 1 minute to respond to one of the viewers.
Is it 2026 playing out? What is it?
I want to use this 1 minute to respond to what one of our viewers said, that talking about the case and that Dr. Besigye is innocent. That comment is not coming from isolation. We are speaking about it because we've been here, we have been around, and we know. There was a time that the Honorable of Mukono Municipality, Betty Namboze, the Katikiro of Uganda, Charles Somaiga, and the Honorable from Wisiro East, Medad Segona, were paraded and said they were got with guns. They wanted to overthrow the government of Uganda. They were taken to Bundibujo, Kagadi. What happened to that case? There was a time that the police told us they found the Chagulanyi with guns in Arua. What happened to that case? So we have those examples.
Precedents.
Yes. So therefore, and these cases they have not gone anywhere. So a state which comes out and he said we are going with the guns in Nairobi, as if all the guns in Nairobi are the preserve of the UPDF. Surely we have precedents. We have where to go back to and say this has happened, and how did it end?
Okay.
So therefore, for me,
we have to move
I
on.
think as we move out, one thing for me with the NRM, I think overstaying in power makes those people you used to criticize look saints. Because as I tell you, all the things we read about that the president tells us he went to fight for, all of them we have lived. Okay. And majority of Ugandans now, Museveni came when we were 14 million people. Now we are almost 57. So all the things that have happened, we have witnessed when he was the one in charge. Therefore, we take him on what he says and what we have witnessed, what we have gone through. What we have witnessed is that everything he accused the previous leaders, he has done multiple times.
Thank you so much. Bate is a senior journalist and he works with URN. Comrade Rugarama is a Pan-Africanist and a lawyer. Honorable Poka Geoffrey is the lead promoter of the People's Front for Freedom. My name is Prince Apollo. Thank you so much for the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's catch up again next Saturday in another edition of the Dialogue. Good afternoon. God bless you and God bless Uganda.